Amita, when people buy an apartment, they usually check the location, price, and carpet area. But from an interior designer's point of view, what are the things they completely forget to check?
That's such an important question. When we go out to buy a spaces that we will possibly live in, we look at it as a buyer and not as somebody who's going to eventually live there. Hi, I'm Amita Trehan from Bravura Spaces and welcome to another episode of Ask Amita. When we go out to buy the spaces that we would possibly be looking to live in, there are so many things that we don't even look at because we're looking at only the location, the pricing, the parking, the view, and the layouts, right? But we never ever think about when we're going to start living there. And that is when the biggest mistake actually happens, because when you start doing the interiors, there are so many things, very hidden things that are going to affect your layout, your budget, the lighting, the ventilation, and the way you feel in that home every single day. Today, I'll list down few actions or few questions you need to ask yourself every time you see a space that you're looking to buy. The most important thing that you need to actually figure is the amount of light, and not only light, it's also the sun, the direct sunlight. It's a mistake that we make, that we will possibly go on one weekend and look at, decide on buying a particular apartment based on what it feels at that point in time. That is the biggest mistake we are making, specifically in spaces or homes or areas in the north of India. The direction of sun is so important because it is going to make sure, or it is going to determine what your winter comfort is going to look like. You must at all points actually visit your apartment, or the same facing of that apartment, the way it's oriented in the entire layout. You need to figure that out, is how is the sun going to be. Are there, depending on how high the floor is it going to come in the shadow of another building and affect your sunlight? So these are the things which, the light condition is so important, because we can actually cater and accommodate and buy anything. The only thing we can never ever buy is sunlight, which is such an important factor in even how hygienic a home may be, or how a livable and happy home vibe that it is going to have. So it is my recommendation that visit the apartment, the exact layout orientation of your apartment at different times of the day, to really understand how the sunlight or the direction of the sun, the movement of the sun is going to be, so you know exactly how much sun that you're going to have during winters or summer. A badly located house in summers can actually become a nightmare, because your air conditioning costs are going to go skyrocketing. The next is going to be the actual layout of the entire space. Well, there is obviously, every home will have the drawing, living, dining, kitchen, whatever, but you have to mentally live your daily routine in that space, and that is extremely important. My recommendation is, even if it sounds a little silly, is actually try and almost in your mind live your day. Okay, I will get up here, how far is how much wardrobe space do I have, how much, what is the the way I would get to the washroom, how far is my kitchen, how big is my kitchen, where are the kids' room, where is my parents' room. So kind of live yourself in that plan, live your daily routine in that plan, and that will really maybe even highlight any issues that apartment may actually have, or it may not. There may not be an issue with an apartment. Maybe it's not the right fit for you and your daily life. The third is storage. We all need storage, but sometimes the space planning of the home is such that it is not giving you the kind of storage that you are seeking. A lot of people would like their shoe racks to be outside the home. Now that has a problem, that in case, what if there isn't any space outside the main door where some kind of storage, seating space, and some basic shoe storage can go for you. If that is not going to happen, which means it is going to come inside the house. Now that is also fine, it is your shoes need to come into your home, but do you have an entry foyer where that entire shoe rack business could actually be, or is it going to become a part of the living room? So that's another thing. So for homes and households that are very are particular about having a dedicated shoe space outside of the home, this would be an actual red flag that they need to look out for when they're looking at the space that they would like to buy. The other thing is the kitchen layout and its proximity to a utility balcony. In my experience and my professional experience and my personal experience, I really feel if the kitchen and a utility balcony are side by side, a lot of mess that's a very natural, normal part of a kitchen can actually very nicely get accommodated into the utility balcony. It can also be in a lot of ways create saving of human energy that I always talk about. So there are so many things that can actually get into the balcony. You can possibly do two activities simultaneously, which could be that you're in the kitchen and you're maybe cooking, but you can load a washing machine that you put out into which is put out in the balcony. So it's a lot of back and forth that kind of gets saved. The layout on paper of the kitchen looks very nice, but when you start putting in the appliances and then you realize you possibly don't have enough counter space, maybe there isn't any space for the larger fridge that you wish to invest in, maybe there is no space, the way the entire water points are located, there isn't enough space for a dishwasher. So these are very normal things that we are all going to bring into our homes, and that is something that you will need to at least explore the possibility of how this is going to affect your daily life. And it has a bearing on your daily life, it has a bearing on how you're going to function through the day. A good point to note is also ventilation. Is there enough cross ventilation? These days most homes come with maybe only one side wall has large windows or maybe sliding doors which kind of open into a balcony. There isn't any cross ventilation. There are a lot of weathers where you could possibly don't even need to use air conditioning, and you could do with cross ventilation to make it so much more enjoyable for you. So these are things. And the washrooms, are the washroom windows opening into a shaft? Are they opening directly into the outside of the building? So these are things that you would really like to figure it out. The other thing is that do not ever go with the assumption that whatever the structure of the apartment that you're going, you can merely break any wall and any merge spaces together. It's not going to happen. There is always going to be the limitation of following the grid of the columns and the beams, and whatever that we will do is going to be part of that entire. We have to respect and follow the grid structure. Also, a lot of newer buildings that we are dealing with these days have Maiwan construction, which really means that the walls really cannot be moved around. Unless the builder has provided for one or two walls that can, they have given that option that one or two walls can be moved around. There would be brick walls and they can move, you can play with them, make openings in them to create create that flexibility of your space. Another important aspect is the size of the washrooms. There are few builders who really emphasize on the size of the washroom, specifically the master bedroom and the master washroom, and all the other washrooms become very small. So, when we start looking at a home, and honestly, that has been my experience, that people walk into this particular apartment complex, look at a beautiful master bedroom and a very expansive master washroom, and the deal is kind of closed. But it is prudent to look at other washrooms as well and the size of other bedrooms as well, because it is going to, in my experience, it is going to get compromised on. So look at the layout. Doing up washrooms is an expensive proposition. So it is important that you figure what is the the layout of the washroom that is there. Does it have enough, if you are particular about having a nice counter space, then does this washroom have enough counter space? How is the washing in the bathing area placed? Is there any possibility of creating storage space? And whatever that needs to be really looked at very carefully. The other issue that I have found in a lot of apartments, and even when I was looking for apartments for myself, was the way the structure is for appropriate optimized furniture placement. You sometimes realize that the way, there is a very prestigious project that we are currently working in, a couple of projects that we are working in. It's almost a 4,700 square feet apartment, and it does not, it has the master bed is facing the entry of a toilet wall. So that is, in my opinion, horrific. We need to be, and all the apartments of that project are sold out, and there are very few options of what you can actually do with it. Of course, in that project of ours, I have made the change that it needed to, but that may or may not always be possible. So the optimized furniture layout is something that we need to be mindful about, so that where is the television going to come? Ideally, the television should be in the center of either the bed or the bed or the sofa that is going to be there. Is there enough space for the dining area? Do we have space around it to move around the entire area? How do we access the entry foyer? So these are the furniture placement needs to be a very, very important aspect of when we are watching out for which apartment to buy for ourselves. So storage, furniture placement, ventilation, sunlight are very important points that you need to look at before you decide on the space to buy. So the next time you're looking for an apartment space, don't look at the fantastic sample apartment styling. Do not only look at the floor plan and the pricing. Look at it as if you're going to be living there, and that is going to make sure that the decision that you take is going to be absolutely correct for you and your family. If you're new around here, do subscribe and positively hit the notification bell icon to know every time a new video is dropped. See you around.